so it says simplify the following fraction. So I've got this section up at the top divided by this in the bottom. So really I could say a squared divided by b divided by a divided by b, right? Which we know from back in like 6th, 7th grade, our teacher used to say, keep, change, flip, right? That's my impression of your old teacher. Okay, so,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. All right, so I'm going to keep this, change the sign, and flip the other, okay? And when I multiply straight across, what I'm going to get is a squared times b over b times a. So what can cancel out? Those b's. And then I'm left with a squared over a, which can be simplified down to,
Really?
I just want to make sure that you know. Today, we're going to learn how to solve the equations. So we've been talking about simplifying them. We've been talking about condensing a little bit. We use the rules to help us with that. And now we're going to actually apply the fact that exponential and logs are inverses of each other. Okay? And we're also going to learn something called E today and ln. And some of you saw that on your quiz yesterday where there was an ln there. You didn't get points taken off. I just wanted you to see it. Okay? All right. So this right here, I've got the same bases on both sides, which means that essentially I could cancel out these bases and just put the exponents equal to each other. So what does x equal? 4. Okay? Because 7 to the 4th equals 7 to the 4th, right? So x equals 4. Okay? Like, make sense? Yeah? So if your bases are the same, you're going to just set your exponents equal to each other. So over here, on number 2, our bases aren't the same. But we can change 25 to have a base of 5. Okay, I'm going to say that again. We can change 25 to have a base of 5. So what can I raise 5 to in order to get 25? 2. And I'm going to set that equal to the other side. Now, are the bases the same?
Yes.
Yes, so I can cancel out the bases and I can set the exponents equal to each other. This is page 12. Okay? Why did what? Oh, I don't know why I put an x next to the 2. I'm so sorry. I got distracted. It should be 3x equals 2. Okay, and now you're just going to divide by 3, or you're just going to solve. So you'll divide by 3 on both sides. So x is going to equal 2/3 or 0.67 repeating, or 0.6 repeating. Here is where we're going to use the fact that exponential and logs are inverses of each other. So what we can do is we can plug this into our calculator, or you can rewrite it in exponential form. I personally am just going to plug this into my calculator because, you know, quick and easy. So what you're going to do is you're going to type log of 1 divided by 16 divided by log of 4. This is the same thing that you did on your quiz yesterday. This is change of base, right? So you put this number over here on top and the base on the bottom. And when you plug, okay, x equals -2 when you plug this into your calculator. Okay?
Oh, yeah,
all right?
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. What Janae said. All right. So let's look at number 4, because this is where we're introducing the letter E. And E is very, very important for us. So we need to solve for x, okay? And we need to have both sides either have the same base, or we have to take the exponent out of the exponent. So E is, if you type E into your calculator, it is right here, this second ln button, okay? And if you type 0 into that, that'll give you, if you type 1 into that, that'll give you 2.718, right? That is what E actually numerically represents, okay? That is kind of just like a number we use for like financial stuff. Back in the day, you probably saw an equation that looks like this right here. Yeah?
That's for rate and change or something?
That's for like interest and stuff. Yeah. Principal times e raised to the RT, right? Like y'all have seen that equation before? No? Okay, cool. All right, so you will use that later on. Okay? Yes, Dr. Loggins. All right, so let's talk about this one. So we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. And the reason why is because I'm trying to isolate x. Baron. It gives me what? 18. All right, so this is going to be e to the 3x minus 5 equals 18. Now, I literally divided by 4 because I want to get x by itself. So I'm trying to move everything to the other side, and it's kind of like what we did with radicals. We're going to isolate our radical, or we're going to isolate our e here, and then we're going to get rid of it in just a second. So the inverse operation of e is taking ln. Okay, so back in your calculator, we talked about this a little bit yesterday in our other class. But ln does the inverse operation of e. Okay, so if you take e and you take the inverse of it, that gives us 1, right? So it kind of cancels out that. You're going to put ln in front of those numbers. Okay, so for instance, over here, we're going to take the ln of that. We're going to take the ln of this. Okay, when we do that, this cancels out. And we're left with 3x minus 5 over here and ln of 18 over here. The reason why I rewrote it as ln of 18, yes, I can put that in my calculator, but it might give me a decimal. Well, let's check and see what number that actually is. ln of 18 gives us 2.89, right? Not about y'all, but I don't want to write 2.89 all this mess. So I'm going to write ln of 18. Okay? Now it has become just a regular solving problem, right? So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And then I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. So I'm going to take ln of 18 plus 5. I'm going to divide by 3. Okay? So x is going to equal, and I'm going to put this all in my calculator because, you know, math. We're going to take ln of 18. We're going to add 5 to it. We're going to press enter. We're going to divide by 3. And we get x equals 2.63. So again, we're trying to solve for x, so we're trying to get x by itself. So we're going to divide by 8 on both sides. So that's going to give you e to the 2x minus 5 equals 7. And now we're going to take ln of both sides. Okay, and that gets rid of our e, right? Ln of 7. We're going to add 5 to both sides. And then we're going to divide by 2. That's a hot mess. So let's go into a calculator. So we're going to get parentheses ln of 7 plus 5 divided by 2. Yep. I got 3.47. Did you get 3.47? So, you see this 2 out here chilling? Okay. You remember last week we talked about a power rule, but we really didn't use it that much. But it was basically saying that this number that's out front, you can actually put it over here as the exponent. So I can rewrite this as ln of 4 raised to the second power. Because you don't want it out front. Okay? Yes, that is 16. Okay, so I've got this over here is going to stay the same. All right. Now, how do we get rid of an ln? We take everything and raise it to the e power, right? So when we put that e out in front, what we're going to get is x plus 3 equals 4 squared, which we know is 16, right? Okay, so this will become 16. And then we're just going to subtract 3 from both sides. So x is going to equal 13. Baron. you take everything and raise it to the e power. Is my recording? Like that. Okay, so we're going to also use our other rules. Remember last week when we talked about quotient rule? Okay, if you got the subtraction in between things, you can put it as a division. Okay, so I can rewrite this as ln of 2x divided by x minus 2 equals ln of 3. Repeat the process that we did in the last couple of problems. We're going to take all of this and we're going to raise it to the e power, right? So when we do that, we're going to get 2x divided by x minus 2 equals 3. Okay, so now we're just going to solve. So we're going to multiply this x minus 2 times 3 over here. And that's going to give us 3 times x minus 2 equals 2x. We're going to distribute because we're going to solve. So that's going to give us 3x minus 6 equals 2x. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So that's going to give me negative 6 equals negative x. I'm going to divide by negative 1. So x is going to equal 6. And I'm sorry for how sloppy that's written. So subtract 3. That's going to give me 3 ln of x equals negative 2. Okay. You're going to divide by 3 on both sides. So that's going to give me ln of x equals negative 2/3. Now, how do you get rid of that ln? Okay, so we're going to raise e on both sides. So this will cancel out, and x will be e to the negative 2/3 power. So when you plug that into your calculator, this is what that looks like. You're going to hit second ln, and you're going to type negative 2/3 power. That should give you 0.513. So x is going to equal 0.513. Because there's an addition sign in between, we're going to use that product rule. So we can rewrite this as log of x times x plus 3. And that's going to be equal to 1. Okay? So what we have to do here is we got to make sure that we distribute. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Now, what we're going to do is we need to solve for x. Okay? We can't really just plug that log thing in. And we can't really just, well, we could do it that way. Okay, so let's do it this way. We know that this right here is base 10. Okay? So, couldn't we rewrite this in exponential form to help us out? Remember the circle of life? Yes? Okay. So, we're going to say 10 to the first power equals x squared plus 3x. 10 to the first power equals x squared plus 3x. Yep. Okay. And now what we can do is now this has become a quadratic. Okay. So we can actually like factor and actually solve this out. So we're going to move this 10. 10 to the first power is just 10, guys. So we can move this to the other side. And that's going to give me x squared plus 3x minus 10. You can do the quadratic formula or you can factor. I'm going to personally factor just because it's a little bit easier. I know. I know. All right, so when we factor, we're going to do a times c. That's going to give us negative 10. B is going to be 3. What two numbers will make that happen? 5 and negative 2. So x is going to equal negative 5, and x is going to equal 2. I would check and make sure that both of those work. I can't think of an instance where it wouldn't work, but just in case. So just to check your work on 10, answers are going to be negative 50 and 2. You can pause this video to check the work.